Call her and say hi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another allcounselors.com live webinar event. I'm excited to talk about and share 10 tips for using online video like a pro. This whole year, 2020, has been pretty tough on a lot of people, but I know therapists in particular, transitioning to telehealth and remote therapy and using the tools, and all counselors, we get it. Like, you spend the bulk of your career and your work time knee to knee, sharing the same space, same air with your clients. And this has been a drastic change for most every therapist we've talked to. So with that, I go into telehealth and having to embrace the online tools and technology like that. I wanted to share these tips for helping you think through how to just up your online presence in your video. And so we're going to talk about these tips right now. And I want to say special thanks to our sponsor, Integrative Life Center in Nashville, Tennessee, a full service mental health and substance abuse program in Nashville, Tennessee. Great people over there at ILC. So real quick, my name is Corey Miller. I'm the founder, CEO of allcounselors.com, doing good work in the world for you, therapists, to be your sidekick, to be your BFF, to help you with all those things that around your practice you work on, helping people heal on their journeys. We want to help you with all this other stuff to make your life better at allcounselors.com. But my past real quick is, and why I'm qualified maybe to talk about these things. I started and grew a multi-million-dollar business over 10 years. Sold that business in 2018. I teach on entrepreneurship, digital marketing, these type topics. These are actually what helped me build my software business over a decade before it was acquired. And then, my life purpose and calling is to champion mental health in the world and to obliterate the stigma of mental health. And part of the exponential impact I know we can have at allcounselors.com is helping you, freeing you to reach more people, help more people, and help them better. So that's part of our little spiel there and why I'm sharing this today. Okay, we already said thanks to our great partners over at Integrative Life Center. But so in this, some of the outcomes, every webinar we do at All Counselors, we want to make sure we have an outcome in mind. We're helping you take key steps to go from point A to point B to improve everything around your practice and yourself and your career. And so in this one, we want to help you specifically really up your game with remote video and your presence there. And then, so that you feel more confident about what you're doing with technology, and we get it. You've kind of been forced to transition a lot of your practices to fully remote or fully online. And also just to give you some thoughts about this and helps. So I'm going to go through these fairly fast. If you have questions, you can always put those in the chat and or ask a question at allcounselors.com of what we talked about today. But first step is always, like, you have to have good, fast internet. So a lot of people don't do this. The reason why I actually have an office, I don't work out of my home, is because we don't have access to good, reliable internet at my house. It's what's called point to point. There's actually an antenna on top that shoots over to some big television channel antennas where the other signal's there, and they're hooking us into the internet. So we don't even have plug in type wired, internet. And so that is absolutely key though. A lot of you, it works for Netflix, it works for Hulu. Before all this happened, it was just fine. But now that you're doing video all day, every day, in fast, reliable internet, it might be a time to say, let's upgrade our internet package. I've actually heard lots of counselors talk about that. It's time to do that. But a couple of things you could do to ensure speedy, reliable internet, and we'll talk even more about this, is to pause all your downloads on devices and things like that. I'll talk about shutting down your alerts and stuff and actually quitting apps and things. But one of the best ways you can figure out how fast your internet is, just simply go over here to Google and type in speed test and run this little speed test that comes up. So you can see this is really fast internet. This is the download speed. That's super, super awesome. Which, by the way, go Cox. I spend a lot of money on this internet at the office for this very reason. And then you can see this. Okay, once it does all this, it'll give you a little thing to say, okay, this is really, really fast. This is really, really slow, and what to expect. So you can tell here, like, it's very fast. That's good because I paid pretty good money for this. You should be able to do all these things. So take that speed test and see what comes out, and see if that might be a quick way to see if it's time to upgrade your internet. So I know this might feel awkward because you're so used to being in the same room with people, breathing the same air, helping people, seeing their facial reaction, their full body, all this stuff. But headphones, to mimic as best as possible, or get as close as possible to the real face-to-face type scenario, you really need to up your game in a lot of areas, and audio video is one of the best ways to do that. So we talked about good internet. That's a must. Second is you using headphones. You'll see I've got headphones in right now, and I'll talk about this. Actually, this is a headphone and mic setup. We'll talk about mics in a second, but headphones, because let's say, like, I actually have the window open here, and I know during your client sessions, you got to be really careful of privacy anyway, but there'll be somebody driving up to the office, and that's a distraction for me. Now that doesn't help with the mic setup necessarily, but having headphones where I can just hear the person and not relying on my laptop speaker is so key. So removing distractions and being able to focus is so absolutely awesome. But if you do have headphones for your clients, by the way, this is something you might suggest to them too, is if they've got a smartphone and they got, like, this is an iPhone, but they got the wired or the AirPods, to use those for your remote counseling sessions, because they help just minimizing distractions. And I think on one of these sides I've got, like, AirPods from Apple are fantastic. The AirPod Pros are worth the money. Now, if you're using the AirPods all day, you'll want to be careful how, because they are rechargeable, so the batteries will deplete, of course. This is, for instance, a plugged in mic, so it doesn't need power. So that's one of the benefits of having something like this. But AirPods are awesome. But again, they instantly up the quality for everybody involved. Okay, number 3 is consider a mic. So it's the yin and yang of this, is a headset for you to be able to hear the person, your clients, but also a mic so they can hear you well. Hear your voice crisp and clear. So this is actually it's about $80. It's actually a video game headset, but one of my partners was saying, you got to go buy this, Corey. I use this all the time. I actually bring it from home when I'm doing stuff at home to my office, back and forth, and it always goes with me because I can just, pull it over my head, walk in, plug in. It's just a fantastic mic. Now, regarding mics, most newer laptops do have great mics and even speakers. I mean, they've come so far. But if you want to up the level 2, and again, a mic, so my mic's over here for my laptop. If sometimes I've done meetings where somebody can't hear me on this mic, but I'll instantly put my headphones on with my mic, and they're like 100 times better. So just think about that if you're using a laptop for your telehealth sessions. And AirPods are so fantastic. If you can upgrade for the AirPod Pros, that's the way to go, because those are noise canceling. And so even if somebody is out there honking their horn, you're not going to be distracted going like this. Like, you can actually, they really cancel out a lot of the noise. And are awesome. And I'm going to put a link to this in the show notes, the webinar notes, for this cooler. It's right here. Let's see. Thought I had all these organized better. Right there. Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat for you, so you'll have that, and then it'll go in the show notes too, where you can buy that Cooler Master. You can see I've had it since August and I love it. So $80. Okay. Next, minimize the background distractions. So, you're at home and, really let's say you're at home or your office, be careful what your scene looks like behind you. If you can see me to the side here. So see how I'm trying to minimize distractions. Like, books are awesome, but I want to make sure, like, if I'm with a client or something, people always mention my Lego thing. That can be a distraction, right? So minimize the background distractions where they're not trying to read, let's say, your diploma on the back wall or something, whatever you think could potentially be a distraction for somebody, make sure you minimize that. But I'm always working on my backgrounds so we can focus on what we're talking about and not on things that aren't important. So I'm always tweaking my setup. So there's another idea, like if you're in your room, wherever you're sitting and doing your sessions, where you can minimize background sessions. I've seen actually people buy these little changing screens and put directly behind them. So therefore, that screen might be right directly behind me here, but that's all you can see. You can't see personal items if I'm in my house. Things like that. And these little screens are pretty affordable. And that's one option. I've seen people do this and it pulls off, I think, pretty well if you're sensitive to other, background distractions. So my counselor, for instance, is right now currently having to operate out of his home for most of our sessions. And, he's always got it framed really well because I know there's issues you want to be careful of not, having details about your personal life and potential like that, but that's for you all to figure out. I just want to say, here's some options for minimizing the background distractions. Okay, have good lighting. So this is absolutely key to, again, just the whole experience. See how we're just kind of little things we're trying to use and build up so that the whole experience is just like, wow, this person professional. I'm not distracted by the technology, things on the background of the wall, the ambient, the noise and stuff that's coming in. You're just all these little things just to make the whole experience just up a notch, like really truly professional. So good lighting goes with that. So you can see for the most part, my face is lit right here. And that's because I have a light. You can't see it, but it's right up there. Light specifically for this. Now, my natural light window is over here, and that's actually one of the best ways to light your face. Now you can see over here, you can see some of that's coming in over here, but my face is lit from this one right here. Now, when I'm at home, I actually face the window because the lighting isn't that good there, and I don't have a ring light like I'll show you here in just a second at home. So if you face a window, you got that natural sunlight, and then you can use curtains and kind of soften the light if it's too bright. This light, the ring light advantage there is I can just turn it down or up. In fact, I probably need to turn it a little bit down. So have good lighting. That's a couple of the ways you can do that. And I'm going to get you, let's see here, links. There we go. This is one of those two, and I'll put that in the chat for you as well. Kind of a ring light. That's what's up right here that you can't see. So if you want to go and spend a little bit of money, that's a good option for you. Okay, next one is, I see this all the time. They're on their laptops, and so they're looking down, looking down at you at the thing. And I always like to get straight on. I want my eyes looking straight on at the camera as best as possible, so that when you see it on the flip side, you think you're looking straight at me. So get eye level as best you can. So like this camera is on the top of my external monitor hooked into my laptop, but I get it, and I've got a couple books you can't see, but to make sure like I'm looking more straight onto the camera instead of down. Now there's another thing you can do to get this. If you just have a laptop, you can buy a stand at Amazon. I bought this stand right here. It is not for sale anymore. Okay. But let's see, like this one right here. Yeah, you can see I purchased it 2 times, purchased it for my wife too, for this exact reason. But this little stand sits under your laptop, sits on top of that. And they're like $20 or so. Like this one, I don't know why this is out of stock, but I'll put this here too, so you can look at this laptop stand. That can help you raise up a little bit and get more straight on with the camera if possible, but I use that quite a bit. And then, I just stack books and things like that to get it more eye level. So there's number 6. Number 7, turn off all alerts, notifications, and quit all your apps. Now, alerts and notifications are 2 sides of one coin. The alerts are just about distractions. And, you're trying to sit here on Zoom, but then you see the little notification bar come up and your eyes go up. And just the same principle as when you probably in your in-person sessions, put your phone in airplane mode or do not disturb. Same thing with your computer. And this is probably might have happened to you. Like for instance, I've got calendar alerts on mine. So in big meetings, I'll turn off my, or webinars like this, I'll turn off my notifications so I don't get distracted by it. Quitting the apps is key because you need more processing power. So oftentimes like Zoom, for instance, a lot of the video stuff is very heavy on processing on RAM. And so you want to quit all the apps that you have to free up more resources for the video application. Now you can see here, I've got a bunch of tabs. I'm the tabs guy, but that's also means winnowing down all your tabs in addition to quitting all your apps. They all take processing power from your computer, and they can slow down and cause less than favorable audio video results for you. Number 7. And then number 8, I got this actually from my coach. So I see a coach every week. And she told me one time, she said, we've never met in person, by the way, but I've been working with her for almost 2 years now. And when we have our session, she puts Zoom, my face specifically, in full screen mode. And she said that helps because you can see nuances in face and stuff, body language, reactions, all that kind of stuff. And she'll make notes about it. Hey, when you said that, it looked like you looked like this. And by having my photo, my video full screen on her side, one, it's alleviating distractions, but also gives you all this space. Let's say if you're using an external monitor with a keyboard, to go like I'm focusing just on this person. So full screen mode is another way to enhance your online video presence. So this is kind of on the internet thing, but get as close as you can to Wi-Fi. So most of us have Wi-Fi. It works probably well for Apple TV and the different devices and Hulu and streaming on your Netflix. But I like to use every edge we can to up the quality. And one is if your Wi-Fi, let's say, think about where you are now in your Wi-Fi and you're just over the network, right? Cruising the internet. If there's something between where you are and your router, that can cause problems, particularly like a brick wall or a metal in a wall. So try to get as close as you can to the Wi-Fi, and even the +1 to that is. And I do this typically at my office. Right now I'm actually on Wi-Fi, but I typically plug into the router, straight into the router. So then I'm not even worrying about the space between my laptop and the router to get internet back and forth, right? So plugging in might be another option for you too, if it's feasible with your home or office setup. So that's number 9, get as close as you can to Wi-Fi. Okay, number 10 is one that I don't always say it with pride, but it's such an essential tip. Have a backup plan. Technology, I've been working in technology for a very long time, can and will glitch and cut out on you. So always, 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 from your website to the way you store your documents, have a backup plan, specifically for online video. So I know a lot of counselors we talk to, their backup plan is, FaceTime on their phone. So having a backup plan obviously means I need to have person's phone number. Do they even have that? And that can be in your intake and your scheduling, emails that you send and stuff like that, is like, hey, if for some reason your internet, my internet goes down, what's our backup plan? And you lead that conversation. So I've heard a lot of people, they do FaceTime or Google Meet. Skype's another option too, of course, but I would highly suggest, let's say you use Zoom for all your telehealth, having another platform like Google Meet is actually free if you have what's called Google Workspace now. It used to be called their G Suite. You get Google Meet for free. So that could be a backup, or FaceTime, whatever else. I promise you're going to be better off if you have a backup plan for these things. So you're not fumbling around. So you tell people ahead of time, if internet gets out for any reason, here's my phone, or here's our backup option. I highly do that. So you make sure and ensure continuity within the session. Okay, so that's my 10 tips. Let's go over them real quick. Ensure speedy, reliable internet. Use headphones. So I'm going to talk about next the mic, but have a good, have some headphones around that always ups the quality for it, and a mic. So this is the Cooler Master MH751 version. It's about $80. I love it because it's headphone and mic, and it doesn't have to have batteries. It plugs straight into the mic port on my laptop. Minimize the background distractions. This is actually paneling, 4x8 paneling I got at Lowe's. That looks like wood, but it took me 5 minutes. It took me longer to carry it up to my office than it did to hang it. So minimize your distractions. If something's in the background that's going to cause someone for their thought to wander or to be distracted, cram that down, push it down, quiet that as best you possibly can. And I mentioned the changing screen. Number 5 is have good lighting. So again, we talked about natural window light coming in, or buying a ring type light that illuminates your face better. It's just another way. And by the way, most of these things people don't know. They don't need to know. They don't need to see, but you're just taking incremental steps to up the quality of it. Eye level, we said straight on. So I'm straight on here, looking eye level into the camera. And by the way, when I do my video of myself, I put it right here. I don't think you can see it, but that's my camera. Right under my camera is the video I would see of somebody else. So I'm actually looking at a picture of myself right now, but see how it kind of appears that I'm looking straight into the camera. So that's a little hack there, is putting the video, if you don't do full screen, put the video as high as you can toward wherever your camera is. Turn off alerts, notifications on your phone. You already do that probably, but also your laptop, and then quit all the apps you can. Don't have your calendar app. Don't have, Microsoft Word setting up. Quit everything you can but your video application. That'll free up processing power and reduce distractions for you. Put your video in full screen mode. Get close to Wi-Fi, or better yet, plug in. So you just need one of these little cables, typically, and they're just called Ethernet cables. So you need one that plugs probably straight into your router, and you might need an adapter for your laptop for the other side. And that's another way to increase the quality of your internet and thus your video. And then 10 is always have a backup plan. Always, always, always have a backup plan. What happens if everything hits the fan? And it can and will with technology, and thinking through that. All right, so your homework is take one of these tips and just take one incremental step between now and the next 7 days. Now in the next 7 days, just take one of these tips and say, hey, I'm going to improve my online video presence with my clients. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick one of these allcounselors.com suggestions and implement it in your practice. As always, this is a part of a members webinar, members training event. And so we invite you to sign up for a membership at allcounselors.com/join. You'll get access to events like these and more, replays of these videos. We're rolling out guides, courses, tutorials to help you do things around business, marketing, technology, eventually self-care. And in 2021, we'll have CE credits rolling out very soon. So please come join us. We'd love to have you at allcounselors.com. Thank you for being here today. I so much appreciate it, and look forward to you to be at our next event. So I hope you'll sign up at allcounselors.com/join. I'm Corey Miller. Thank you so much for being here.